Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here, and it's time for another reaction request. If you have a video that you'd like me to react to, check the description below. There's a link that'll take you to a Google document with all the relevant information. So today we're going to be looking at this video, Reviewing Your Persona Ships by Fither. So yeah, very much up my alley here. We're talking shipping and we're talking Persona, so this could be interesting. I'm curious to see what turns up, what ships we're covering. As for my Persona ships, I don't know. I guess with P3, and I haven't played Reload yet. And I think the only time that I did play P3 was Persona 3 Portable. I think I've seen most of a playthrough of a different version. I think Fez or something, or maybe it was the base version, a different, like, older Persona 3. I saw most of a playthrough. But the only time I played personally was P3P, and it was with the female main character. And I kind of shipped her with Mitsuru, which I know you can't have actually happen, but it still feels like there's quite a bit of subtext there, so it still kind of just appealed to me. I don't know. I guess you can actually go for Aegis, but I actually didn't romance anyone when I played P3P, and just kind of let it imaginarily play out with Mitsuru. As for P4, I definitely feel like I'm on board for the whole Chie Yukiko thing, but it's kind of complicated by the fact that I find it very difficult to play P4 without romancing Chie myself, because she's my favorite in that game. So, I don't know. Just a bit confused about what the actual ship there is in the end. And just as a sort of out there pairing option, I guess I kind of also still do like Rise and Naoto to an extent. I know that's kind of a controversial thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are hardcore into the whole kanji Naoto, but I don't know. As for P5, I don't know if there was anything I was too, like, heavily invested in ship-wise. I kind of shipped On and Shiho. But, like, between the main characters, like Makoto, no. Don't really ship Haru with anyone. Futaba. Yeah, I can't really think of another ship that I was that attached to in P5. But maybe I'm forgetting something. I don't know. Interested to see what turns up in this regardless. Let's go ahead, make sure we're on decent quality, and get into this. Here we go.
Hey, how's it going, and welcome to another video. Alright, so last week I did a video reviewing you guys' various Persona headcanons, and it seems like you guys really liked that video. I had a lot of fun doing it. So I figured today we could do a sequel, and something that I noticed popped up pretty often in the headcanons thing is just different topics of, like, shipping and Persona pairings that you guys liked or found cute. I asked you guys to provide your own Persona ships, and just like last time, I was absolutely stunned by how many responses I got, sitting at over 750, so obviously I won't be able to cover every single one of them. And just like last time, if you don't have
and that's without repeats, or
comment, there's a pretty good chance somebody else provided like basically
there aren't 750
so you're
options.
Likely to see some of the more popular ones show up. Starting off, we have a celebrity comment here from Jamesy Too Cool, who says Misc and Futaba. They have a lot. I
mean, I guess they
anytime they're in the same place together. And
they did have a pretty good back and forth. I can see it.
Smarky remarks at each other. Just
I don't see it as really a romantic thing, but
yeah, like Futaba and Yusuke seems to be just like not even like getting into the romantic side of it. Just one of the more like popular Persona 5 duos. Like you see fan art and stuff of them together all the time, and I can definitely see why. They have some of my favorite like interactions and chemistry between the whole Phantom Thieves. Since they're both kind of like weird people, they're just different flavors of weird. And yeah, it is a lot of fun watching them kind of antagonize each other. Ryer Lee says Yosuke remains single forever and refers to himself as a Sigma male. This is like an anti-ship, or it's not even like opposing anything. Yosuke is just here. Top 10 reasons why Yosuke Hanamura will never fuck. Purple Rowlet says SIU director and Windo-chan. Throughout the events of P5, these two looked at each other longingly.
Yeah, I guess.
The intense love they share for each other. Upon the SIU director's mental shutdown, Windo-chan finally realized the intense love they harbored. Upon this realization, Windo-chan went into a deep depression. Yeah,
I'm surprised
Windo-chan was never given her time to shine in like Royal or Strikers. Considering how important she was, I have a sneaking suspicion if there's ever a Persona 5 arena, she will be the main antagonist. Odd Channel says Dojima and his dad.
Oh God!
It's kind of crack ship since we never see the two characters interact in game. But I feel like they have really good chemistry.
It's canon.
Crashable.
Okay, so how many of these are going to be meme answers?
A family bond with each other. Something about the term uncrashable has me tilted. Man, I hope love, happiness, and uncrashable relationships follow all of you. Cuckerbuster says easy. Lobster and Yusuke. The sheer romantic energy they bring to the table is absolutely astounding. A shame they didn't develop Lobster much after they were introduced. Yeah, I hope they at least stayed pen pals or like added each other on Discord or something. Lobster, I will be leaving. Do you have line? Alright, here's some actual ones here. Clayton Hutchins says, the obvious Ann and Ryuji. Ryuji has always felt a need to look out for Ann, but only found the courage to do so because of the metaverse and meeting Joker. Yeah, this is another one that I like and think is kind of cute. Like, Ann and Ryuji, I think, have always had, like, a pretty unique relationship among the Phantom Thieves. You know, that's sort of like male and female, but they're both still bros sort of dynamic. You don't really see that a whole lot in Persona. You know, even though the groups are always, like, friends, it does kind of feel like there's that sort of, like, gender divide between, like, the dudes and the chicks. But yeah, I really like that kind of dynamic. Just the idea of, like, yeah, we're just bros. I think my favorite,
I think you get that with Chie as well,
I feel like I mentioned this scene
4.
pretty often, but my favorite moment is when they're...
Maybe even more so than
in Hawaii. When they come out in their swimsuits, and Ryuji is just like, you know, he makes the, like, the anime pervert face or whatever. And Anna's just, like, cool about it. She doesn't do the, Babaka, I'm gonna slap you kind of thing. I fucking hate that, by the way. I might do, like, a video on my least favorite fictional tropes, and that's absolutely, I think, probably gonna be number 1. But yeah,
not a fan of the tsundere.
Mellow Lando says, Haru and Joker. Only girl in Persona 5 who gets upset at being friend-zoned. She needs a daddy.
Probably is.
She, like, literally does. But yeah, like, when you reject
it's
her,
probably the best romance.
Pretty heartbroken. Like,
even though she's not my favorite.
Girls play it off pretty well. Like Makoto, especially. Like, you have the option to either be like, oh yeah, let's learn about stuff as lovers, or however it goes exactly. But if you just tell her, yeah, let's be friends, she's like, yes, I agree. Whereas Haru is just like devastated. Hiho says, I ship Mark and Maki because the idea that Mark visits her a lot in the hospital makes me think he developed a crush on her. Also, the idea of Mark teaching Maki how to dance sounds very cute, not gonna lie. That does sound very cute. Yeah, I like this. This sounds pretty nice. I feel like you basically never see, like, Persona 1 shipping. Like, Persona 2,
yeah, I was wondering what this was. I never played Persona 1.
This is, like, one of the only, like, strictly Persona 1 related submissions that I got. Whisperain says, I don't like shipping usually, but Yosuke and Labras makes my heart go ba-dump. I pretty much forgot about this one until, like, I was looking through the responses, and yeah, Yosuke and Labras are very cute. It was kind of nice seeing Yosuke get to interact with a girl who's, like, not in his, you know, his immediate circle. He probably has to find somebody that hasn't been, like, in contact with Narukami, otherwise he's doomed. But their interactions are pretty wholesome. Ichi Goku says, the ship I enjoy most is Kanji.
Of course it was going to come up.
An emoji of a gorilla, a little heart, and a detective. Yeah, this is another very popular one. This one showed up all the time. Like, Kanji and Naoto, I think, is probably the most popular, like, ship not involving Narukami in any way. And I like this one a lot, too. I feel like pretty much out of any Persona 4 ship, this is the one that I find, like, kind of the most cute. You know, gun to my head, I would say that I do kind of ship it, because, like, Kanji is obviously into her. There's a lot of, like, you know, in the Persona 4 arena games, and even in Persona 4 itself, it seems like they're kind of, sort of, maybe pushing, like, Kanji Naoto a little bit. And I think also a lot of the appeal of it is just the fact that they're they're very similar people, but they're also very, like, opposites attract. You know, Kanji is this big, gruff, kind of delinquent sort of dude, whereas Naoto is much more, like, reserved and kind of tiny and, you know, is in law enforcement. And they also deal with a similar struggle of, like, you know, how society views them, so... Yeah, I think Kanji Naoto is definitely one that I'm a proponent of. In Media Res says Futaba and Yusuke. They both take their hobbies to a passionate extreme and both have a quirky nature to them, to the point where they don't really mind each other's weirdness. Like, they both are so into their passions, I can see them ignoring their partners for an extended amount of time. But with each other, I can see them being apart for days and then just getting together to watch Featherman. Ben McGiggle says Yosuke and Chie because they already fight like an old married couple. Yeah, this is another one of the more popular Persona 4 ones. I could maybe see it. I think my worry with that would just be the fact that, like, there's so much kind of antagonism. I've seen these kinds of relationships, like, this is like a real life thing where, like, the two are very, like, almost kind of aggressive with each other. Like, I'm sure we've all seen those kind of, like, couples that play fight and stuff, and it seems like inevitably, without fail, somebody ends up hurting somebody else's feelings, like, really bad. I feel sort of the same way about, like, Yusuke and Futaba. I kind of wonder if, like, eventually, especially Futaba's gonna kind of, like, go too far. Obviously, she's not gonna, like, take a piss on the Sayuri or something, but Yusuke can be a pretty emotional sort of dude, so... Yeah. I guess it kind of just depends on your viewing of that dynamic. Like, you can make the argument that since they're already kind of like that, it means they're really comfortable with each other. But I think you could just as easily say that kind of relationship is, like, sort of volatile and maybe shouldn't become romantic, but... Time Gal says, if you're looking for a serious answer, Takemi and Kawakami or Ichinose, interesting. Since the depressed adults would click together and need some love. I'm trying to think if Takemi and Kawakami, like, ever interact. I don't think they do. Yeah, I can see this one. This one's kind of hot, bro. I don't know. Takemi and Kawakami. Yeah, I can see it. I mean,
they never interact, but...
Both, like, they're not old, but, you know, they're, like, adults at this point. I can see the two of them being, like...
It would be hot.
I'm tired of men. Maybe, like, a no-nonsense working woman would be a nice change of pace. Mako Haru because of how supportive they are, and Marie and Rise because they just work for me, can't fully explain it. Marie and Rise, that's interesting.
Yeah? I don't know.
Says Akechi and Ryuji would mix together better than
I do kind of like Mako Haru,
pancakes. Now, this is some crack. Akechi and Ryuji. I'm struggling to think what these two would, like, even want to do together or talk about. Like an opposite attract. This is just like two entirely different sorts of matter, like, converging. I don't know, that's quite the shit.
I kind of feel like they just would not.
I'm definitely
could not stand each other.
Sushi and Yuko shippers. Sports team related stuff and both being pretty bad with romance stuff. She constantly worries about him and his injury and genuinely cares about him. Also, if you play as Femc in P3P, she kinda admits she's into him while in Inaba. Never dated Yuko and hopes that she ends up with Kaz without Dorkun on her mind. I like this one. I think that, like, kind of regardless of if she ends up getting with the MC, like, I kind of see these two as, like, getting together, like, eventually either way. But yeah, like you said, they definitely have a lot in common. They, like, Yuko just straight up likes him. So yeah, I think they'd make a pretty cute couple. Since you made it this far, I figured this is a pretty good chance to shill my Discord server. If you want to join, all you have to do is become a channel member. There's a link in the description to join. There should be a little YouTube button right there that says, like, join or something like that. Then on Discord, all you have to do is check your connections, make sure that your YouTube and Discord are linked up, and after they're linked up, you should be able to see a little Fither key right there. That's how you join. If you join, you get to take place in some exclusive server member activities. For example, the Akechi meme review stream that I did and the PowerPoint review stream I did, those were all submissions from people in the server. We play a lot of Guilty Gear. If you're looking for somebody to play Strive with, that's the place. And unlike every other YouTuber server you've ever been in, I actually talk in there. Although that's debatably more of a con than a pro, but... So yeah, consider becoming a channel member. The membership really goes a long way in helping me out. But yeah, back to our regularly scheduled shipping. Alright, so I thought this one was highly mega player, who says, you all know Joker.
That's a popular one.
But do you know Yusuke and Joker? Boys, don't you see that Yusuke tries to flirt with Joker, the boat trip, the expected nude pose?
Yeah, those are both popular together.
Realize it. Man, you're right, bro. What if Yusuke is actually, like, a secret undercover romantic genius and Joker is the one who's, like, completely unaware of his advances? Shit, you're right, it's all making sense. The idea that Yusuke is like, I will have a nice romantic boat trip with my crush. And then he acts all surprised when it's pointed out that it's like it's supposed to be for couples. He's like, I didn't know. Oh. Hibiki says, when I was in high school, I always really liked Mitsuru and Akihiko together. I think them both being the mature older students looking overseas was an idea I really liked. Added to the fact that we knew that they know each other for years. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I think out of all of C's, like the two that I kind of like being together the most would be Mitsuru and Akihiko. Since, like you said, they've known each other for a long time, they're both kind of like, they kind of have their shit together, I think, a little bit better than some of the other members. I could see them having, like, a weird relationship where, you know, Mitsuru stays around, runs the Keijo group, and then Akihiko is off being Goku. Every now and again, he just shows up and he's like, hi, honey, I'm home. What's for dinner? Lush says, I'm not a person who ships, but Yukari Mitsuru by the end of Persona 3 gives this, yeah, we gay, keep scrolling energy.
I could see
I
it.
like one of the headcanons from the previous video, which was like, the reason why Yukari and Mitsuru are like that in the answer is because they're literally in a relationship. Because Mitsuru, like, sticks with her to the very end.
I've never played the answer, so...
really fully even believe...
Maybe that might change my opinion. Maybe I'd ship it more
so,
if I did.
I could see this one. Fiery Leaves says, while obviously it's a confirmed thing, I
mean,
really
with how
like
it
the
ends, I
dynamic
guess, even if I do
between
ship
Junpei and Chidori.
the main character.
Since while both of them don't
Mitsuru,
completely change, both of them mature
not
as
like
people because of each other, and it's one of the reasons why Junpei is my favorite of the three bro characters. Yeah, I think, like, Junpei having his own kind of romance story is really cool and makes him unique. Because, like, for a lot of the other, you know, Persona, like, party members, you don't really see that a whole lot. You know, sometimes the characters will have, like, crushes, like Yosuke has with Saki Konishi, but spoiler, she freaking died.
Yeah.
They're really cute together.
Not really allowed to go anywhere.
His emo goth GF, who's kind of quiet and reserved, and Junpei is dumb man. And I think having that romance kind of did a lot for Junpei's character. This one's interesting, from Bido, who says, this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I can honestly see Ryuji and Haru being
this never even considered that.
Adorable Mementos interaction, and it made me realize, holy shit, these two Cinnabons really would get along. And man, it's just so heckin' cute. I could maybe see this one, you know, Haru being Haru is kind of hard to get, like, a super great judge on how she, you know, interacts with certain characters. But I could see it. I definitely think that Ryuji and her have a sort of similar, like, temperament going on. They're both kind of, like, nice and happy most of the time. I think having, like, Ryuji around, who's kind of laid back, kind of easygoing, like, would counteract some of the stress of, like, running a massive conglomerate. So yeah, I could maybe see it. Dark Knight Moon says, Teddy and the guy that said I'd hit him. Truly a relationship for the ages. So fun fact, this is actually something that was elaborated on in the Persona 4 art book, but it turns out that random side character is actually now the CEO of Femboy Hooters. Allergy Jelly says, I'm not even a shipping guy, but I can't look at you and Yosuke without saying there's something there. It's pretty clear to me that Yosuke's deep in the closet and has a massive bro crush on you.
Didn't it used to be an option?
Help make this seem any less obvious. And on top of that, everyone in the
the cut lines,
cut voice line suggesting a Yosuke romance option.
It was.
Yeah, there's actually a mod for Persona 4 Golden that restores like a lot of that content. It's pretty cool. I find it funny how everybody is always like,
at one point considered.
Is Kanji gay? When I think the greater question is like, is Yosuke in the closet? It's like, y'all can forget it. I'm not calling any other man my partner. But yeah, I definitely think you can kind of look at like, especially his interactions with Kanji and stop and think that he's like. He's kind of projecting his own insecurities onto him. Yosu Varley says, I really enjoy Persona 3 main character and Elizabeth as a ship. I just prefer their emo guy and energetic girl dynamic over whatever P3 MC and Igus has. Yeah, I also like this one a lot. I just really, really like Elizabeth, and I think that, like, the interactions that she has with the Persona 3 main character are really fun. And they also super totally bang at the end of her requests. And like you said, I think it's just a really fun kind of dynamic. Like, Persona 3 main
slightly prefer Margaret,
laid back and kind of like whatever about things. And Elizabeth, who just sees like fun and beauty and excitement in the most like mundane shit in the human world. I think that's a lot of fun. And also, aside from them, myself and Yosuke, it's canon. I mean, shit, pack it up, all Yosuke enjoyers. It's Yosu Varley stole your man. ZX Apocrypha says, Ryuji and Sophia, my man's is so passionate about her that he didn't say F. He said, fuck. I can kind of see it. I think Ryuji probably thinks of Sophia as being more like a little sister than anything. But those two obviously share a very strong bond. Master plus Margarita says, don't know how common this one is, but Makoto and Haru. They're sort of the Phantom Thieves team moms. Haru's everyone's emotional support.
I can very easily be convinced of this one.
And the way they act during Strikers, it feels like they've grown close during college. Though I don't think they even go to the same one. Makoto's the only one who knows about Haru's driving and stuff like that. They also just seem to get along really well, especially considering how different their personalities are. Yeah, I think this one's pretty cute. They definitely do, I think, like, they're probably the most mature of the Phantom Thieves. So a relationship with somebody who's more kind of like, you know, an adult would probably suit them better. Wet Desert says Makoto and Yukari because of how attached to him she seems to be to the idea of bringing him back.
I forgot the default name was Makoto.
That Yukari was super.
It's like this is kind of an odd combination.
All that stress of bringing somebody back just because you.
What are we doing with the timelines? But know that
she was clearly in love with the dude. See, at least for me, this isn't one that I'm like super into because I'm just not that big a fan of Yukari, but I can definitely see why people are into it. You know, especially considering how obvious it is that Yukari likes him, so I can definitely see why people are into it. Name says Yusuke and Joker. Ah, we got another Yusuke and Joker.
Yeah.
Song. Says, I've never actually checked for how many days this is true, but it feels like Yusuke spends almost the entire summer going to LeBlanc and waiting for you to come downstairs so he can ask to hang out. A month of movies and late nights eating curry that gets ruined by putting love into it somehow feels like something special to me. Damn, Yusuke and Joker having a little summer loving, shit. So this is a mega-minded idea. You know how he gives, like, LeBlanc the Sayuri to keep? What if he gave it to Sojiro as an excuse to come and see Ren? Damn, that's his two favorite things in one spot, baby. Tight Loyic says, Futaba and Yusuke, especially after all their interactions in Strikers. I can't help but imagine them being one of the neediest but most adorable couples. God, like, imagine those two actually get together. What kind of, like, life they would live? Because Yusuke has no financial sensibility whatsoever. And, like, God knows what Futaba's gonna do. I don't know, I think there's a lot Futaba could do. There's all kinds of, like, you know, shit you could do on the internet. Dude, Futaba could become a VTuber, dude.
She definitely could.
Like, Futaba, I am starving. We have no income.
I mean, they're all...
my Futaba laugh.
A lot of them are like that. Just these introverted girls who are kind of weird.
$100,000 worth of Bitcoin back in 2013. We're multi-quadrillionaires. Nut Time says Joker and Demi-Fiend. I want them to kiss and say law is for stupid heads. Truth says Joker and Sumire. I feel like out of all the P5 girls, their relationship seems the most likely to me. The confidant and the story for Sumire.
Never was really a fan of it.
Helps throughout the confidant, and there's the showtime. Yeah, like, I romanced Sumire on my Royal playthrough, mostly just because she was, like, a new girl, but, yeah, I really liked her confidant and just kind of, like, her development with Joker and stuff. And even though this is obviously, this just has to do with, like, the fact that she's a new girl, so there's new spotlight put on her.
I mean, she was an interesting character to me, but, like, never...
time together, just, like, not even involving the confidant.
Never really one of my favorites.
Pretty cute together. MD says, I know this will get me stoned to death, but Joker and Royal Goro being sworn enemies that kiss a little on the side is very entertaining ship to me. Or catch you monster.
I don't think you're going to get stoned to death. I think it's actually one of the most popular ships around.
Joker and Ryuji. I'm just a sucker for friends to lovers, and Ryuji is kind of the first friend you make in the game. I just think they'd have a lot of fun and be really cute together. Colin Speed says Konami and you so she can officially be Nanako's big sis. Also Teddy and Labras because it just seems so goofy it worked. I don't know. Yeah, Teddy and Labras did have some pretty cute interactions now that I'm thinking about it. They can both probably relate to the fact that their existences are like weird. You know,
yeah, I could actually see that.
He's a shadow.
Oh, that's, yeah, kind of.
Robot designed to annihilate shadows and shadow. Hideki says
it's weird, but you're kind of convincing me in a way.
I just like the delinquent and honor student combo. Oh, that one might work out. Like, I could see, you know, the two kind of...
I see that more than Ryuji and Haru.
Complement each other pretty well. Like, Ryuji makes Makoto a little bit more kind of laid back. Makoto makes Ryuji a little bit more serious. I can maybe see it. Your boy Skinny Man says, if I had to pick a ship, my favorite would probably be Minato and Elizabeth. It's just so freaking wholesome. It is very wholesome. Dude, Elizabeth is so cute, bro. Mr. Hungry Hippo says, I'm a big supporter of you and Chie. I saw in your last video about the whole Chie becoming a cop and you becoming a detective, and I thought it would be very cute to see them not only work side by side, but also create a nice relationship out of it too. I thought this one was very interesting. Elijah Bradley says, one of my friends likes Ann and Futaba just because he likes the idea of Futaba going from being a shut-in to dating a model. Man,
okay, well that's a
dream,
interesting...
I kind of love this one. I don't know, something about
interesting reason.
Like, Ann and Futaba, I think it's just really cute. I think Ann could definitely kind of, like, connect with Futaba a lot better than, you know, somebody like Haru or Makoto, just because, like, Anna's more kind of like a bro. You know, she's obviously not as, like, internet savvy or nerdy as Futaba, but I could definitely see them, you know, hanging out, playing some video games. An maybe teaching Futaba to be a little bit more kind of fashionable. And since An is more kind of like, you know, confident and assertive than Futaba is, I could see the two definitely working out pretty well. Also, I think Kanji and Naoto is cute. I agree. Squid System says, they literally cannot interact, but show me Sophia and pre-resolution Aegis. They have the dynamic of that video of the two AIs trying to carry a conversation between each other. See, I find this one interesting mostly just because I find, like, AI to be super interesting. Like, could two AIs fall in love with each other? Would they
I mean,
the
why not?
capacity to, like, understand that feeling? That's just something that's kind of fun to think about, is, like, AI and if they would be capable of, you know, feeling love and certain emotions and stuff like that. Yosuke Toastsuke says, sorry to be that kind of person when it comes to shipping, but Yosuke and you, this is more of my bisexual ass self-projecting on Yosuke, also the cut romance. Yosuke and Labrys, they're absolutely adorable. Please, Persona fandom, give me more than 8 fanfics of them on AO3. Minako and Akihiko. Akihiko is the only man I romance, and I always made Minako look like an absolute carnivore in my playthrough. Damn, girl, you carnivorous. Shit. Naoto and Kanji, OTP, my favorite relationship dynamic. Tiny little vibin' detective and a beefcake with a heart of gold. Adachi and myself, I'm an absolute simp.
That's an
stop trying to steal my man here. Adachi is for me. I don't know if you told me.
Odd person to simp for.
Ganon Production says, yeah, An and Ryuji definitely got married. That's all I'm saying. I could see that. There's like a Phantom Thief reunion after a while, and An and Ryuji show up and they're like, oh yeah, we got married. We forgot to tell you though. Gray Vastilev says, aside from main P5 ships, I really enjoy Shiho and Mishima.
Yeah.
Interesting. In the game, it seemed like they know each other well and might be considered friends and care for one another. Mishima was especially worried for Shiho. They both suffer a lot from Kamoshida and definitely have emotional wounds after such traumatic experiences. So them getting together would help overcome the trauma. I also think the personalities complement each other, with Mishima being introverted, shy, and reserved, while being kind of...
I guess this isn't that different from me shipping
Shiho
and An.
Outgoing. So yeah, I ship it. You know what? That's pretty cute. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of a shame that we don't see more of, like, Mishima and Shiho interacting. I mean, hell, we barely see any of Shiho after you know what, but... That would have been kind of neat to see if, like, Mishima, you know, at least mentioned Shiho more. I don't think he ever, like, really brings her up after the end of the Kamoshida stuff, but... That would have been kind of neat, just like, you know, Mishima every now and again dropping little hints and tidbits that he's into her. I think that would have been a kind of fun angle for his character. Blue Banana Game says Joker and Haru. He supports her so well in her social link, and she's the only girl who's really upset if the player rejects her. Their interests are so well aligned too. The two of them running a cafe together would be chef's kiss. Oh man, that's
if I were ever to play Persona 5 a third
like,
time, I
all the
probably would
stuff
go for
you learned
Haru.
from LeBlanc and like putting that towards, you know, Haru's like cafe project. Unstoppable duo. Anthony Mark II says, I got the impression that in Persona 3, Ken develops a massive crush on Mitsuru. Not that I ship them, but it would serve as an indicator for the type of person he likes going forward. I mean, dude, I fucking would. Like, imagine you're, you know, 30.
It's hard not to develop
like,
a crush on
what,
Mitsuru,
11, 12? He's about that old. And you got fucking Mitsuru walking around? I mean, yeah, Junpei asks Ken, like, what kind of women do you like, bro? And Ken's like, I like mommy GF with big mommy milkers. My god, I need this. Shade Eno says, Akechi and Naoto just because I think it would be cute if the two detective princes got together.
No.
At least until Naoto found out Akechi was a murderer. Man, that's rough. Imagine like, oh man, this is great. I found me a nice detective boyfriend. We're in the same kind of like career. We share a lot in common. And then he has the talk and he's like, babe, would you still love me if I killed multiple dozens? Like, Destiny Willowleaf says, Joker and Akechi and Royal specifically. Thanks to actually getting to know each other. Hanging out, having that rivalry, but also being able to open up about a few things. It makes the end hurt that much more because there's more to the situation than just a rivalry. Muhen, the owner of the jazz club, calls you Akechi's friend, and the first time you go back, and if you visit him on 319. Sure, maybe it can't amount to anything major due to everything else that's already happened, but there's still a chance to reconnect and grow closer in the future, right? Yeah, no, like, Akechi in Royal especially is just like, this massive gay bait. Like, he was already kind of a gay bait sort of character in the original, but, like, two straight homies don't just go to a jazz club together and get, like, cute fruity cocktails. Remember the part in the Royal opening where, like, Joker and Akechi laying on that bed of diamonds or whatever, like just right next to each other. Yep, nothing weird going on here. Just two hetero friends just chilling. Also, show and therapy. Forming connections through battle is cool and works right up until you're in a public space and can't fight without drawing unwanted attention from authorities. Kingdom Keeper says, I really like Ren and Ann. I felt there was a strong initial attraction on that first day when they encountered each other under the awning. Then there's the sequence at Big Bang Burger where she confides in him about how she truly feels about her situation. And we get to see Ren visibly upset that she feels this way, more so than with any other girl. Plus there's all the other little details, like Ann being the only romance path. Plus there's all the other smaller details, like Ann being the only romance path that has the girl straight up saying I love you, with the exception of Sumire being added and loyal, and ends with an actual kiss. She's the one who pushes for the team to do something when Ren gets arrested, and when he's finally released, the camera...
I see it, but I don't think I would ever play the game and actually choose on.
The whole cucking the cat meme never even crossed my mind when playing, because I just felt that natural connection from the beginning. Hell, she even has her own unique song that plays only once during that first meeting that's clearly a love at first sight theme. I've always headcanon that if Kamoshida never pulled up and taken her, Ren would have struck up a conversation and quite possibly a relationship could have started that day. I like this one. I definitely feel as if Ann is probably, like, the Persona 5 girl that I think I've, like, grown the most, attached to over time. Like, even though I like her, she's a great character. I feel as if I've definitely, like, over the years have grown more kind of appreciative of her, you know, her kind of unique, like, tomboy attitude, and she's just a fun character. And yeah, her romance is definitely kind of unique in just how, like, I don't know, romantically charged it feels. Like, obviously, there's the I love you thing and the part where they kiss when they get together. It definitely feels a little bit more kind of like, you know, spicy than, like, dating Makoto or Futaba or whatever. Matt Pat says, I really ship Zenkichi and Dojima as a pair of bros because they can relate to their wives dying and their kids hating them. Plus, Zenkichi can fill that Adachi hole that Dojima has. I don't think I ever want to hear the phrase Adachi hole ever again. Like, I don't know about the romantic angle, but, like, if Zenkichi and Dojima met, I think they would be, like, lifelong friends. Because, like, they're kind of just the same character. Like, they're both detectives with a dead wife and a difficult relationship with their young daughter. So yeah, I'm certain, like, get a couple beers in those dudes and they would be, like, best friends. Maddie TD says Makoto and Kaneshiro. Because if you think about it, she did get caught on purpose. I think she was trying to meet him. Oh man, Tokyo's most eligible bachelor, Kaneshiro. I'm sure that guy has an extensive My Anime list. Full Moon says, I like Ryuji and Makoto because they're surprisingly similar while also presenting themselves as opposites outwardly. They're both kids who just wanted to make life easier for their family members by getting a college scholarship, but went about it in very different ways. Ryuji went through sports and Makoto through academics. Both of them ended up being exploited by the people who are supposed to help them, but Ryuji broke under the pressure way before Makoto did. Plus, their Phantom-themed outfits have similar vibes. As well as Makoto being into Yakuza movies, manga, and even showing an interest in video games means she actually has a lot of the same interests as Ryuji too. I also always got the impression that Ryuji developed a crush on Makoto after she awakened, especially after seeing their Showtime conversation at work.
I can see it,
They also seem to have this strange gang leader underling vibe sometimes, like in their Showtime, which was Ryuji's idea, mind you, and a scene of the Mementos mission manga, and I find it both funny and endearing at the same time. I can see it. I think they do probably share more in common than you would kind of, like, initially think. I think definitely. With Makoto, like, you kind of just have to get her to open up about the kind of stuff she's into. Like, you know, like you mentioned, she's into Yakuza movies, she knows Aikido. So I think if you gave them some time to kind of, like, really get to know each other better, then they'd probably make for a pretty cute little pairing. How do you say this? Amiso Jinkusupi says, Yu Narukami and Rise in P4D have massive power couple energy.
Rise is a good option.
Yosuke and Teddy seem like they would end up gay from sexual frustration of being single together for so long. I could also see them cross-dressing to make it less gay, too. Yosuke, I read on the internet if you wear a skirt, it's not gay. That was my very bad Teddy voice. That was like after smoking cigarettes.
Not great.
Says Akechi and Joker. Nothing than two bros sitting in a hot tub, less than 5 feet apart, completely naked, right in front of each other, with direct
fairly normal in Japan.
Just the two of them having a deep conversation while having a nice hot steamy bath together. Also, third semester be gay as fuck. Hermit Fox says, couples I really ship per game I've played, Tatsuya and Jun just can't resist the canon gay. Katsuya and Maya, so cute. Femsi and Akihiko, I saw a video here on YouTube that had an animatic about the Femsi dying and Akihiko grieving about her. It had me in tears. Akihiko is such a sweet boy, and he deserves Femc's sunshine personality. It has so much wholesomeness and drama. Narukami and Yosuke. I just loved acting as gay as possible while playing P4 and making Yosuke question himself, haha. That sounds like a Persona 4 challenge run. Can you beat Persona 4 while acting as gay as possible? Kanji and Naoto, just perfect all around, 10 out of 10. Yusuke and Futaba. They're just made for each other with their quirks. Also, I'm currently role-playing as Yusuke with a partner who plays Futaba, and we both ship them, so I have a lot of bias there. That sounds very cute. Maruki and Zenkichi. Just wholesome crack ship thoughts here. They both have lost a loved one, and there's so much potential for comfort. Mugsman says Fuka and the Persona 3 protagonist are hella cute together.
Fuka.
I agree. I didn't really see a whole lot of Fuka-related ships, but
yeah.
I'm obviously biased because Fuka is like my favorite Persona 3 girl, so yeah, it's canon because I say so. Rommel Luna says, I have 2 ships that I like. The first one is a cross-Persona games one. I ship Ken Amada and Makoto Nijima. Fascinating.
How old would Ken be by the time of
I think they complement
Persona
each other
5?
Personality-wise and would make for a cute couple.
Ken's probably significantly older than her.
It is one of the main focuses of this fanfiction called Ace in the Hole, and it's the reason why I ship them. It has Ken joining the Phantom Thieves at around Futaba's palace. And I ship Sumire and Ren because throughout her journey and recovery, Ren has been there by her side to help her out. So it's really sweet and rewarding if Ren accepts her I love you proposal from this cute first year. Granted, she's the only girl aside from drama class Sun Socialing, Yumi, that says I love you to the protagonist. I think An is the only other one. There might be some other ones I'm missing. It's hard to remember exactly, but lastly, when she gets flustered is the cutest ever in the game. Oh, dog, that moment was so cute. Flustered Sumire is, like, adorable. On a serious note, her first-hand bad experience with Maruki's actualization is a great reason as to why people should reject his deal no matter what. Aiden Trevish says, I like Femc and Rio. Their personalities just fit so well together, it'd be a crime to keep them apart. Yeah, I actually really like the social links with Rio and Saori. I think I like Saori a little bit more, but yeah, Femc and Rio are both pretty cute. Joe Buckley has some interesting ones. Number 1 is Yusuke and Haru, which is the basic princess and pauper dynamic. There's the fact that they both had to deal with their father's corrupted heart. Yusuke's confidant revolves around him discovering the complexities of the metaphorical heart, while Haru has a heart of friggin' gold. And I headcanon that Haru would be super supportive of even the most absurd of Yusuke's artistic ventures, lobsters included. Plus, one's a sadist and the other will go along with it, which gives you some crack or schlock reasoning. Also, I think Futaba and Yusuke works great as a vehicle to further explore Futaba's anxieties. But their vitriolic best buds, Weirdos Edition dynamic works perfectly fine platonically, and that's about 2/3 of their charm. The second one is Akechi and Yoshizawa. One gives Akechi someone else to give a shit about besides Joker. 2, a major thing about Akechi's character is the idea that he always got conditional love. Everyone wanted him as a function rather than as a person. And I bet the closest that Yoshizawa would get to that is less murder, more smiles. 3, Akechi is already just pretty boy Vegeta. And while Goku and Joker being effortlessly superior drove both of them off the deep end, Majin Vegeta and the attic trash breakdown leading into the Black Mask reveal, Bulma did and Yoshizawa would work as an emotional anchor that drives the murder-happy jackass to chill out and become a reasonably well-adjusted being. Yeah, one thing that I really like about, like, Sumira's relationship with Akechi is the fact that she's kind of the only one of the Phantom Thieves that doesn't really know what's up with Akechi, right? You know, all the rest of them know them as Crazy Murder Man, but for her, he's kind of just Crazy Man, right? So I think that alone would give her a pretty interesting sort of perspective on the guy. Alright, this one is something. Akechi and Haru. Okay, I don't like this pairing. At best, I think they should be complicatedly neutral to each other before burying the hatchet and going their separate ways. But I do find it utterly fascinating just how wildly their dynamic varies from person to person. Whereas most other pairings tend to share a common theme between every depiction, I've seen this pairing done as everything from a Romeo and Juliet dynamic to a Shinjiro and Femc dynamic to 2 bulls butting heads over who gets Joker to a cold-blooded heiress working alongside an emotionally fragile assassin in the name of taking down both of their shithead fathers. And this is before adding in the wrinkle of Haru being either an alternate Black Mask while Akechi is innocent or a second Black Mask. It's not a great pairing, but it's definitely the most interesting to me. Yeah, I can definitely agree with the idea that this is, like, not good, but it's interesting. I'll give it that. Like, the two don't really have too many, like, direct interactions. Probably Haru doesn't even want to. I mean,
less than you'd think with him.
Even though she very
killing her dad
doesn't like the guy, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of interesting to just see, like, the moment when Haru is like, so you killed my dad. Like, what's Akechi gonna say about that? And number 4 is Shinjiro and Mitsuru post Femsi's death. This is mainly because I think Akihiko and Fuka would be.
That's interesting because he can survive.
But I think
Shinjiro
and Mitsuru would work mostly through them finding solace in the only other C's members who went through hell twice over. Fuka and Akihiko on its own is pretty interesting. Shinjiro watched no less than 3 people die on him, one by happenstance, one by his inability to keep control, and one by him trading fates or watches while he, a wandering corpse with a broken mind, gets to live on for no good reason. Meanwhile, Mitsuru bore the sins of her grandfather and the
It is interesting to think about, like, Shinjiro
including Yukari's dad,
after
Femsi's parents, Ken's mom, which would also explain why she's the only Persona user to yell anything along the lines of "Obey my command," apathy syndrome victims, Strega, and anyone else that died in that project, her own father, Ikutsuki, even if he was a dickhead, Femsi, and almost or eventually Shinjiro, and had to keep a stiff upper lip throughout the whole thing. Plus, Shinjiro no-selling Mitsuru's threats of execution, while everyone else quakes in fear would be great. I can see this one. Like, Shinjiro
I can
is
too.
definitely one of the more mature members of C's, along with, like, Mitsuru and Akihiko.
I like
so
Shinjiro.
I could see the two of them getting along just based on that. Plus, just the fact that they've been through so much, like, similar shit, like you said. So yeah, I think I like this one. Weiss Schnee says, Ann and Shiho is the most underrated gay ship in the entire franchise. It's cute, wholesome, and satisfies the part of my brain that wants soft urine.
Good taste,
yeah,
Weiss.
I like Ann and Shiho a lot. I mean, those two are pretty close. Like, and our last one here from Kate Alyssa. Not a romantic ship, but I like to imagine Kei Nanjo stepped in to help Mitsuru a lot in life. We know that Nanjo and Kirijo were connected at one point, so he was probably pretty close with her dad. After the death of Mitsuru's grandfather and her father taking over the Kirijo group, I'd imagine he was afraid she would end up lonely and depressed without any parental guidance. So he would go out of his way to support her like Alfred did for him. He taught her how to fence as he felt like she needed something to keep her active away from all the dark hour stuff. He noticed her interest in his motorcycle and convinced her father to eventually get her a license. He went as far as helping with designing her motorcycle, and of course, after her father's death, he helped mentor her in the business of leasing a company and is always happy for her to call for advice. Dog, you just invented like an entire new backstory that I totally wish was real. But yeah, I think this one's really cool. Like, I wish this was real. This is awesome. But yeah, that has been the ships. Once again, thank you so much to everybody who contributed one. Sorry I couldn't get to all of them. Like I said, there's 700 plus of these things. So, but yeah, this was a lot of fun. I think that like analyzing ships is a lot of fun. First of all, just because of like the romantic angle. It's really cute and stuff. But it's also just kind of interesting to see people's like perception of these characters and their like theoretical relationships and how they get along together. And I think a lot of y'all came up with really interesting ideas for like why certain characters would actually get romantically involved and why they would be a good pairing. And some are just funny. So yeah, that has been the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Okay. So yeah, that was interesting. I covered a lot of ships there. Kind of a bit surprised that Yukiko and Chie never really popped. In fact, I don't think there was any Chie ships in there. Did Chie's name even get said in this video? Like, I don't think it did. I mean, Yukiko either. Like, that's shocking, honestly. Like, not just the two of them, but like just well, there might have been some Chie Yosuke. I'm thinking about. Did someone say Chie Yosuke? I think so. But I can't really remember. We covered a lot of shifts over the course of 40 minutes, but still it was a lot of ground to cover. But yeah, we didn't cover that. Definitely didn't get to my weird one of Risei and Naoto, but I expected that. We did finally get to the Shiho thing, and I mean no no Mitsuru and Femsi either. But, yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of interesting options. Some stuff I hadn't really considered before. And, yeah, a lot of just interesting ship ideas in there. I don't really think I have too much else to say about it, though. I mean, it was a good video. I think he presented it well. Very entertaining. And, yeah. I was definitely interested the whole way through just to see what all the ships would be. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the reaction. Let me know if you did. And see you in the next one.